Um, yeah, can you hear me, Miriam? Um, how are you? Have you been able to rest at all? Okay, it's I mean, it's another opportunity. Okay, so are you working late night shift? That's interesting. All right. So while I'm waiting for others to join, I think Jesus, that's 24 hours. So here we have, I think we have a login interface, then we have the sign up interface, right? And I think we also should not be able to go to the dashboard, right? Dashboard. So if you go to the dashboard, it will route you back to the logins page. So I'm going to share my screen in a bit to show you what we have, what we've built out. Yeah. I just realized I wasn't sharing my screen. So here we basically have this, this little interface here that we've been working on for quite a while now, right? And yeah, you have this flow here, and I said like we can't go to the dashboard route because it is protected, right? So you can't go to the dashboard. Hmm. No route should be accessible. So that's interesting. Dashboard. So this route was found, right? But it rerouted us back to the login and say, hey, you cannot sign up, but you cannot do anything except you sign up or log in, basically. That's what it expects right there. Um can you help me drop the link on Discord, Miriam? The link to the YouTube on Discord. I was supposed to do that yesterday night, but I forgot entirely. Uh, do that. So I think one thing I can do is that I can build an integration that anytime I go live on YouTube, it can notify Discord. Yeah, I think I can do that with the Discord API. Should be able to build something that can work like that with the Discord API. Alright. So we're going to just look at the code that powers the sign up once more. Check the code that powers the login, and we also we just check through the general hub. We check through generally, and whatever is left, whatever anybody wants clarity on, then we can also confirm that, and then we can go on to decide what the next project is going to be. Hmm. Right. So um, here, let's try to see if we can log in. Let's try to see if we can log in. Um, let's see if we can log in. I'm not sure I remember any of the passwords though, but let's see. No, I think I'm tempted to implement the forgot password. Yeah, we should be able to implement a forgot password flow. Yeah, we should be able to implement a forgot password flow. Thanks. Thanks. I can't even remember. I probably just sign up with another account. And let's see. test@test.com/test owner and password password. All right. Let's just see. So automatically when you sign up, it automatically logs you. It automatically signs you in. Right. That's another extra thing that we added. Right. And this shows the list of invoices. This shows all the customers. And yeah, and that's pretty much everything there. And then we are able to also sign out back. And if you want to also go back to, if we want to go back to login directly now, I think I used test@test.com. I think I did that. And we can just do this. And yeah, it works. It works basically. So we're just going to look at it from the code perspective to see what we have left at code level. Take questions, concerns, and I think I might also take some SQL if anybody has some SQL questions. So majorly, all the authentication, is done with hot.js, right? All the authentication is done with hot.js, and also we can carry out this same authentication with you can use any other means of authentication, right? Or zero, you can use zero as well. There's zero if you want to use that. They also should have integrations for nextjs as well, right? But definitely there's more to the things we can do. Like I said, the major thing here is like the power that we have here is just limitless in the sense that we already have something that is functional, right? Within like with a very short number of time or minutes, you can quickly get going and have something functional, right? Just with the help of Auth.js. And I think I said earlier that Auth.js also supports. They now have um, support for magic links, right? There's support for magic links. There's support for using credential, which is what we are using. Currently, we're using credential approach, which uses the username and password, right? And they also have support for web authn, right? Which is the pass key, which is like a new way of authenticating people now. I think it's much more modern. Both magic links and web authn, they are the major new ways of doing authentication majorly, right? And it also supports OAuth, right? Whether you want to use Google or you want to use GitHub or you want to use any other service provider that you use. So I'm just going to walk us through the code, walk us through major things, how these things are functional, and we can then look at some other interesting things, right? So here I hope I can implement authn later on, or maybe in the other project that we're. So authentication is also using credential. So I mean, I don't know whether they have support for two-step authentication, but the two-step authentication means that I mean, I think we can even build that ourselves in a sense that for two-step authentication, what's the major thing with two-step authentication? The major thing with two-step authentication is like when somebody logs in first and their username and their password is correct, you will not sign them in yet. You take them to another screen where you verify whether they are the real person, right? So you either send them a code to their email and asking them to provide that code, right? Or we use another means of authentication, whether we are using a um, whether we are using something like what other thing can we use for two-step now? There are service providers that gives us the ability to use two-step authentication. But I think instead of using two-step authentication, the reason why many authentication process comes with magic link, I think magic link solves the problem of the magic link kind of like solve the problem of the two-step authentication thing there, right? So auth doesn't provide two-step, but we can build it and integrate it into what we currently have, right? If we want to step, and I think pass keys are like the future, right? Whether if you have like your mark, you can use your fingerprint. If you have like your phones, your iPhones, your normal Samsungs, right? You can use pass keys, any other means of identification that just connects to your phone and authenticates you, right? And sends you feedback of what is going on there. So like I said again, the power is limitless if we can really explore like a lot of things, there are a lot of opportunities, right? With the power. But I think Magic Link solves the problem. I think Magic Link solves the problem of the two-step authentication. Except we need two-step authentication that integrates into things like how many of you use any two-step authentication service provider? Do you use maybe Google Authenticator, or you use Twilio? You use Twilio or T, right? If you use those ones, right, then we'd have to need something extra to implement those ones. But outside of that, so if you're using all those special two-step authentication providers, those ones might require some extra configurations and coding there, right? Oh, Microsoft has one. I don't know that Microsoft has one. Yeah, GitHub uses passkey. That's what I'm saying. Like passkey is built on this WebAuthn, right? Passkey is based on this WebAuthn, right? So if you are using that and no, there should be a page for WebAuthn itself. WebAuthn in itself. There should be a page for that. They should have their home page here and their standard guide for the WebAuthn. So WebAuthn is like a new way of authentication. So we have TypeScript. We have TypeScript implementation. I mean, there should be Next.js. You should be able to see Next.js in integration here. Should be able to get. So this is the guy in charge of this, right? But this is really so. I think there should be more information about how to build this and the API, how it works, right? I'm tired of using password. Anything that has to do with password, I think even me, I'm tired of using them. Basically, passwords is just tiring. This is JavaScript code. That's interesting. So there is a navigator.credentials.get. Okay, that's pretty much interesting. All right. So I think to just put things into perspective for those who are just joining for the first time, right? Um, we have this whole thing that we've been working on for quite a while now, right? So I'm just going to distill a little bit of it down, right? Um, so for those who are just joining for the very first time, right? Next.js is a meta framework that allows us to just get started very fast as much as possible. So here we have a page called dashboard, right? And we have a page called login, right? The major thing there is that to create a page in Next.js 14, we must export out to this page.tsx, right? And this is what you see right now on our what? This is what you see if you sign out and go to the login page, right here. So you can see the logo and you can see the form. You can see the logo, right? And you can see what the login form right there. And to make that login functional, right, it needs a sign up page, right? It needs a sign up page. And the sign up page is the same thing as maybe register, right? So the register also has its own, right, where you have what the logo and the register form. So they're pretty much the same thing. Now, the most interesting thing with this thing is that here we have this form that guides everything that is happening, right? And this form also has this button, right, which is the register button, which is the final piece that controls what happens. Is the final piece that controls what happens. All right. So you can see that we have this register button. And automatically, when we are within a form, when you click a button of type what submit, any button that has a type submit, our button has a type submit, right? If you look at it, it has a type submit. um Inside the form, anytime you click on that inside of a form, it automatically tries to submit the form. Now when you try to submit the form, what are we doing, right? Next.js supports something we call server actions, right? Server actions are actions that, just like what we have in the early days of JavaScript and the web, can you see can you see the code, or you want me to make it a little bit bigger? I can make it a little bit bigger, or yeah, I think this should work. Majorly just take. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. So we then have this input which is stateless, right? It's stateless, right? You don't have any value and you don't have any unchange. You don't have any event controlling it, right? So what happens is that by the time you click on the submit button, right? When you click on the submit button, what happens is it sends, because this is action and it is a server side thing, it sends out like a form data that is containing, right, all of the what all of the values that was written inside of this input, right? It sends everything out, all the form data that is inside of this input, it sends it out, and all those things are saved inside of where, inside of this particular they're going to be saved inside of this state variable, right? And that state variable will be also, so there is a hook called use form state, right, which calls this action. This register is an action, and this initial state is the default value, like a default value that we are starting with, right? So what does register expect? If you look at register tells us that what, I'm expecting you to pass me previous state, right? And maybe a form data, right? And what I can do is I can validate the data, I can hash the password, right? And I can create a new user record in the database, and I can also sign in the user automatically. So these are the list of steps that the register method really does, right? And when you look at it again, this validation is done with Zord, right? For Zord, you create a schema, and once you create a schema, you call save pass on that schema, right? If the form data, now this form data, because this form data is what contains, you can see that what form data dot get email will give us the value that was put in the email input. Form data dot get password will give us the value that was put in the password. Form data dot get name will give us the name value, and the same thing for confirm password, right? And so if there is an error, we need it to send back information to the what, to the page. So this will return a object that is matching what, this what, errors and message. And if you go back to your register form, you will see that what, we have this initial state, right? You can see that this initial state is what, message and error, right? So use form tries to call this register, right, with this initial state, and it returns two things back to us, right, that we can use in our code, which is what, state and what, dispatch. So this dispatch is the action, and the state is the result that is returned, right? So you can see that we are passing dispatch to action, right, to carry out the sum formation. And inside of the state is where, if this was successful or not, right? But if this was not successful, whatever was returned will be saved inside what, this state variable. So you notice that below every of this input, we have this error notification. And so we are what, tapping into that error notification and say state.errors. And if there is an email error, then we want to display the error, right? And the same thing happens for name. If there is what, a name error, you want to display the error there, right? And you notice that also I toggled off the required, which is a client side validation, right? I toggled that off. So there is what, there is a server side validation that we are doing with Zod here to what, yeah, hello Samuel, long time. So we are then able to what, we're able to just check. So this will always return, and I think there is the last one here as well. There is a particular thing here. There is an overall error message at the bottom. Where is this now? So there is this error message at the bottom that handles all of the error in the whole page, right there, right, which is what, state dot what message. So this controls the whole thing. It controls the whole thing. So if we try to what, try that out, let me take this required out again. I'm going to take this required out, and we can try it. So on the register page, we go to the register page. So if we go to the register page and you're trying to register without passing anything, so you can see that each one of them are what, busting out errors, right? That is saying that this is an invalid email, right? This string must contain at least one character, right? String must contain at least 6 character, right? And what reset what password must what this. So this is what your client side validation. Also, we can put some values here. Let's try this. Put some values here. Let's see, and let's try to register again. So if you see it again here that it tries to submit, but we are now seeing that what string must contain at least 6 characters and password do not match, right? So and then you can see this error again. So here, what is being returned, if we check our logs very well, yes, if we check our logs very well, you will notice that I think I stopped logging, but if we put a console.log inside our work, right, we can see a console.log where, so we can log the state. Now if we try to log the state, if we try to log this state after everything that happens, console.log state. So if we do a console.log state, and should be able to, so if we try to register again now, then we should get what I think it should be in the client side. I think so. We should get some information on the client side. See on the client side, I'm not sure. So if you check the client side now, you can see that what we get an object with errors and what errors and message, and it is this error. So you can see that confirm password is returning 1, right? And that is the error that is being rendered here, right? And this is thanks to Zerd, right, helping us to do what a client side validation. However, we don't even need this on in if all things were to be working normally. Once you put required here, right? Once you put required there, that will block off form submission. That should block off some form submission until there is a value, until there's a value to be submitted, until there's a value to be submitted, and that is what the client side what validation. So if we go to our page here and we try to submit, so you can see that what it's not going to allow us to go, right? Because it's telling us that what, so it's not sending anything to the server anymore, but because this is required until you put a value here, right, before it sends message to the server again. And you can see right now it's now telling us that okay, I think it's still not going, right, because there must be at least 6 characters. So now it's going, right, it's sending to the server, and if you check, it's sending to the server, but the error is different this time. Now, what is the error that we are getting? The error says that what? Inside of what? The confirmed password. Our confirmed password and what? Ordinary password, they do not match, right? They do not match. So you want to check that to fix that. So again, you see the validation there is powerful, right? You can reserve to what the client side or the client side or the server side kind form of validations that we can use in our work. All right. Any question regarding the process of what the register? Any questions regarding the process of register? And so when it does the error message and the error check, right, if it is successful now, then from the data that is being returned, this is the confirmed data that the schema has cleaned, right, which is validated field dot what dot data. Then we can extract out our email, password, and name. Then we can go on to hash the password, right, using bcrypt, right, dot hash. So this will convert the plain password, because most of the time inside of our database we don't want to be storing hashed plain password inside of our database. So what we want to do is what we want to store a proper kind of data right in there. So a proper kind of data means that the data that has been hashed. All right, so this hashes the password and we have what the hashed password. Then we try to create the user. So we send a message to this create user. Again, this create user is another action. This create user is another action that is happening. And what is this guy doing here? This thing is just what, inserting something into what, a SQL database, and is returning the result. And what is the result that is returning? It is returning result dot what, result dot row count. And we know, like, the result dot row count is, if one row was inserted, then it will return 1, right? So that is, something was inserted, and if nothing was inserted, then we'll know that, oh, nothing was inserted. All right. And so inside of what, our actions again, let's go down back. Yeah. So once you can see that what, once the row count is not equals to 1, then you see there's a database error, right? Fail to create user. So let's try that. If we send in a confirm password, let's see if we send in a confirm password. Let's see. I don't know what the password I've written before is, so I'm just going to do this. So if we do this now again, right, both passwords are now confirmed and the same. So you can see again that it's spotting this bug again and saying what, email already exists, right? Try again later. So you can see this is the portion where we are what, cracking that email exists, right? So here we're trying to say that if this operation, because this is an await operation now, if this operation breaks along the line, and the error code that was returned is what, 23505, 23505, then we are sure that email is already existing on the database. And again, when you check it again, this happens on the client side. I think we should have a copy of that same operation on the server side, right? So this is what is being handled on what, on the client side, but it sends it, because it's an action, the final thing happens on the server, but because it's an action, right, it will what, it will also carry the inserting of into database on the server side, and it will check all the validation and return back the error to us on the client. Because this is a return, you can see we are returning objects here, and that's what is returned back to the client. The action is happening on the server and is returning the whole result back. Because if you console.log this, I think console.log here, somewhere on the server, and we're supposed to be able to so you can see now, right, somewhere on the server, right? So you're very sure that the action is running on the server and is returning back the error to us on the client, so that we can what, display the error for the user to what do. And if it successfully created the user, right, then the last thing is what, just sign the person in, right? You sign the person in, right, using what, the email and the password that they have passed, and what, you use the credential approach and you just sign them up there. So there's another error catch, that is, if the error that you are catching is a redirect error, then you just what, redirect them to the dashboard. So that also happens. And again, if any of this, if it's not this error and it's not this error, then just return something went wrong, try again later. So that is that about what, about that. Any question about the register? Any question about the register flow, right? Can we implement our own register flow? Can we implement our own register flow that looks like this? Yeah, we should be able to implement our own register flow that looks like this. Right, beautiful. So when you have the confirm sign up, right, then it takes us to the dashboard. So this whole register flow is similar to the exact same flow that happens on the word, on the sign-in. So if we go to the login, where's the login flow now? What are the login forms? So this is the login forms. All right, the login form has this what use form state, right? And there is this action called what authenticate, and this action called authenticate is what is happening where inside of this what app live actions. So, and the initial data is undefined, right? This will be the error message, and this dispatch will be our action that we are sending. It will be our action that we are sending. So we can click on authenticate to see what authenticate is. So the major thing with authenticate is what the authenticate is just trying to call in what the sign in what the sign in function, right? The sign in function just takes just the object of your username, right? That is the email and the password, and it tries to sign you in. That's all, right? And if there is error, then you can catch the right error or the particular error that you are what counting. And also, I think this sign in is built where this is where the sign in is built. The sign in is built inside of where this hot. So if we want to look at what this auth does, there is a auth.ts, right, at the root, right, of our application, right, that what we have. So we have this whole process in our configuration, right? If you want to know about all of this, right, it is done with next auth. That is that auth.js that I showed earlier, right? That's what helps us to handle all of this. But the major thing is that what it has this authorized what this authorized method, and the authorized method is what this is the validation, right? And once it has done the validation, we try to get a particular user from our database, that is that email that they've given to, or send it to the database and see whether there is a user with that email. All right, once we check whether there is a user, you want to confirm whether the password that they have in the database is the same thing as this password that they are sending, right? If the password matches, we return the user. If the password does not matches, right, we just what show them what the possible error right there, right? Or you can show them console.log what invalid credentials. So that is basically what happens there. So here, this portion here where we are using credentials, right? This is where we are using just what email and password. And I think that if you want next auth to specify a form for you, to a page for you to handle all these things, you can specify everything here, right? Specify some of the things here, right? And next can handle it for you. But since we want to handle it by ourselves, right? We don't need it to. We just pass it empty object and we can control the whole thing that happens there. What else? So do we understand the login flow, right? The login flow. So let's try to use the login flow, sign out, right? If you use the login flow, I need to fix this. If we use the login flow, we just created, I think it should be this. I'm not sure whether it's this one, but let's see. Then we're also able to what? So you can see that what automatically it signs in. I think I want to know how many network pages being sent. So it's not plenty, just very. It's just these are the fonts. Tall. So it is. Yeah, it's not. Or better still, let's just put it on all. So let's look at this. It calls the dashboard. This is Webpack. This is layout. This is the page. Yeah, it's not bad, right? It's still basic stuff, right? Yeah. And so that's basically everything there. And then we also have the existing dashboard that we've worked on before. And I like this, as you scroll down, that's when it downloads all these images, right? You can see that it's lazy loading these assets. You see, as we scroll down, it's lazy loading the assets. So if we have any other questions regarding the code base, then I think we can still access our component. You can see React server side component. This is an error boundary. yeah, we can still play around with the React. The React tree still got everything there. So you can see that. So we can still use the React Dev tool to manage and monitor all the operation that is going on. All right, and we can also use the profiler if we know how to or to use the profiler. Hmm. So that is that with what both the register and the hot phase, right? I mean, there are things that we can do also to get our hands dirty. We can try like the forgot password flow, right? Whether you want to reset the password, right? That one majorly it requires maybe sending of email, right? Because when you go to a particular site and you click on the forgot password, right, it sends email to your email, and you click on a link, and then it takes over from that place. I mean, these are nice things that we can implement just to take it a little bit further and a little bit extra. We can also implement like a settings. So based on the UI that we have now, based on this UI that we have, right? Based on this UI that we have, another thing that we can do is that we can implement based on this thing that we have, we can implement like a settings, like a just as we have this. Okay, just where we have this sign out, we can create another one here. Maybe split it here and create a settings button here, and there you can allow them to update their profile. I mean, these are like very tricky things, very interesting things that we can now do. You can allow user to update their profile, allow user to update their password. Some sites don't allow you to change your email, right? It depends on maybe the scenario. Some sites allow you to change it, whatnot. Depends on various scenarios. But the major thing here is that we're just able to build something that works, right? And you see that we're able to create something that works in a very different way compared to the way, let's say we're just building a React application to build this. I mean, we can build a React application without Next to do this, but now that we are inside Next, we have a lot of flexibility and a lot of do we have do we have performance here? So if you check performance, right, the performance is definitely um something it's very performant in the sense that at least I am sure that our initial FCP, which is the first contentful paint, is going to be very high. It's going to be very like around 1 or 2 seconds, right? And the largest contentful paint should also happen before maybe 4 seconds thereabout. I mean, I can go to Chrome to test out those values. So by default, Next.js is built to help us to improve the performance. Those are like the key things that Next.js brings to the table, right? It helps you to improve, build something that has, better performance, right into it. So all the web core vitals, right? The time to first byte, the loading speed, the speed index, all these core web vitals, right? You now can have improved value because eventually when you're building a solo React application, whether with Vite or with Create React app, eventually you run into performance problem because you don't like what you have for performance, right? Eventually you're tired and you don't like what you have for performance. How does this work? How does this work? Okay, so if we go deeper into this, right, these are like advanced stuff about like, but you can definitely see that as at what? As at 100 milliseconds, this is 100 milliseconds, something is rendering already. As at 100 milliseconds, something is rendering already. And believe you, we're still in development, right? And that's the crazy thing. We're still in the development. And if something is rendering as at like 100 milliseconds, that's zero point 0.1 seconds. something is already rendering. If this were to be like a React application, trust me, before something can maybe render, would be like maybe you'll be getting that first rendering maybe like after 4 seconds or 5 seconds thereabout. So Next.js has like this built-in performance metrics into it. Now, if you know how to like read this or like go like take this a little bit further, like there's no the browser is still fine. Like even maybe it's only at this point that our CPU usage is like spiking, right? But definitely there is nothing too much, nothing too serious for the browser to handle right in here. So these are one of the advantages that Next.js brings to the table, right? And it's just all this helps you to understand what is going on, the functions, the methods, right? What your React application is doing, right? These are the metrics and all these things are that we have here. It helps you to just know. The call tree is important because this tells you the functions that is being called, right? All the functions that is being called, right there. So again, like I said, you can take this further on your own, right? I'm going to drop the link to the repository. You can take this further, clone it, break it down, twist it, turn it into different things, and much more interesting, right? You can build something. Like I said, the goal with Next.js again is what it helps us to build fast. It helps us to achieve a lot of cool things as fast as possible, right? There, like we can do some maybe deeper integration with Prisma, right? If you don't know what Prisma is an ORM, just like Mongoose. If you don't know what Mongoose is, you know what MongoDB is. Prisma, right? It helps us to just simplify working with databases. Then we can also use which one again is that? Dribble. Is it Dribble now? Dribble ORM. Dribble ORM or something ORM. Can't remember the name of that one self now. Drizzle ORM, right? Drizzle ORM. So Drizzle ORM is another very beautiful one. I think I'm going to be using this one for the next project I'm doing because I feel like it is amazing. It has some superpowers, which is amazing that I want to try out. So for the next project I'm going to be doing, we use Drizzle, and it's got cool features. It just got cool features. We can connect it to Supabase, right? Or you can build on different platforms, connect to any form of database, right? Whether it is Vercel, Postgres, or not, and you have like a Drizzle studio. But the major thing is it generates code for you, it generates code for us, and gives us an API that we can use to this is, I mean, it's very beautiful. Just like if you look at the getting started there, I think I can do something later after this stream today. I'm just going to implement Drizzle with that exact process that we have. Whatever I have working today now, I can just implement Drizzle on top of that. And you'll see how clean and type safe that Drizzle is because it gives us TypeScript. It gives us all these. You can add. We cannot consider because what Drizzle is going to remove is if you go into the actions, all the places where we are talking directly to the database here, all this line where we're talking directly to the database, like Drizzle is going to replace all of this place now. And so we can now have proper types here, right? And you can know what is going to happen. So every raw SQL that we are doing, right, Drizzle can replace that. That's what Drizzle just does. It replaces that, and we can then you can then do, you can then do different things there. And yeah, I think that is all about like this particular project. Anybody has any question? Do you have any question? Miriam, are you still here? Do you have any question regarding this one? I can't wait for you to try. Maybe just try it out on your own. See if you understand the whole thing. I'm going to share like the URL. See if you can build something of your own, right? Something that you can just own. And the major thing is add just one extra feature, right? Add something extra, right? Add something extra, and then it becomes your own. The idea is just to build something, add something extra. For me, the learn next JS tutorial did not put register, right? Register route. I created register route. That's my own implementation, right? So for you can learn stuff online, right? But the goal is that if we learn something online, if we don't take it and do something on our own and had our own extra feature, then we would not, like, our learning would be what we incomplete. So right, you could just, add in, like I said, there's forgot password, right? There is the update profile, right? The settings button to change name, to update your name, to update profile. Just, I mean, they are just cool things. Like, if you keep thinking about it, there are different things you can do. We can change the sign up process to use Magic Link, right? And we can incorporate Resend. Resend is another very cool technology that is very good to use. I think it's also free. It has some basic free Resend. So Resend is another very cool thing that we can do, right? That we can also incorporate to send emails. I think this is what I'm going to just, yeah, I'm just going to. I mean, if you're trying to build something like that, I mean, why not just try it? Just try it easily with Next, and just me, just me. So I think I'm just going to implement this right away. So I'll just implement reset password feature. I feel like I need to implement a reset password feature, right? Because I don't like the way I'm forgetting the password. So that way I'll be able to just implement the reset password feature with this resend. And this will be the first time I'm also using resend as well. Right there. So for the next project that I'm going to be working on, I think it's going to be an e-commerce project. I'm just going to be building something from scratch, right? Converting the designs from scratch, just to build something. Basically, the goal is just to build something, right? Yeah. Rolla, what's up? How are you? Yeah, yeah. You're a little bit late to the party. So I mean, like I said again, there's no much. If you look at it again, there's no much too much. Miriam, there's not much to understanding the password, the back end per se, right? Because again, if you don't start building, you would not really know what you can build. And another interesting thing that I found out is that Next in Vue is also very powerful, right? I think one of these on this stream as well. I'm just going to also do something with Next. Next is also as powerful as Next is, right? And it's also very easy to start Next. I think I was just learning Next, and I saw that, man, this Next guys are also, especially Next 3. Next 2 is not good. Next 3 is just the dope one, right? With Next 3, right? Create pages, you can create APIs. Oh my god. It is so beautiful, right? Next 3. Like, it's just so beautiful what they have going on there. I mean, when you create, it's just with this command, you create a whole project. Once you create a whole project, then you are able to set up your pages, right? Right. You just create your pages, right? By just creating folders, right? And once you create the folders, you can now create an API as well, right? If you want to create an API. Uh I mean, you can try this out. Just try. I think we can try it out. We can try it out. It's not, honestly, it's not too difficult. And I think Next with Nitro, they have something called Nitro that they're also using behind the scene, right, to make all these things happen. So to create a page, you just like the way we have page.tsx, you just do app.view, simple, and then we have the home page, app.view inside of your Next. That's all. We have a page, and the next one is what we go ahead and create what pages. Just create pages folder, and you put a what hello.view, then you have a hello page, just like next with pages, because Next also have like the version that uses pages, right, which is very powerful. And then they have layout, right? You can set up layout and stuff, right? So Next is also another very powerful, but like I said, both of them are what, they're metal frameworks. Same thing with Svelte Kit. I've not tried Svelte Kit, but I hope I can try Svelte Kit one of these days. Svelte, Svelte kit. Lots of technologies, man. People are building something, building. So they are using Vite as well now inside of Next. Hey, Dominic, what's up? Long time. Like people are just building like nice, amazing technologies. Right? But building different things. Let me see. They are getting started. Let's see what they have when they are getting started. Let's see what they have when they are getting started. Each page of your app is a Svelte component. So I don't know what a Svelte component looks like though. So this is their folder structure. The fact that everybody is using Vite under the scene, not everybody per se, but at least no, Next.js is building double pack. But the fact that everybody's using Vite is just uh Vite is just there. How do we create a page? Just create a page. Just show me how to create a page. Show me how to create a page. And I think I should say with Next that Next has APIs. Where's their APIs layer? They have an API route. You can create an API route, and we have like a. I mean, almost all of them uses TS config, right? Because many of them almost all of them allow you to use TypeScript. So if they allow you to use TypeScript, then we can. Yeah, they all allow you to do. Yeah, they all allow you to create a server route. Yes, I'm fine. I've been off streaming for a while. So but I'm back. I'm back fully. So I'll be building another new project sometimes later on. So I was able to I think I'm going to host this later on. We got this to work, right? And this is the app you saw us building the other time, right? So we added the login, we added the sign up, and I mean I'm going to implement the forgot password and some other cool things later on. So yeah, you could sign up, you can sign up, you can log in, and it's just basic, very basic things that everybody should be able to do. At least everybody who is an engineer should be able to do. So that's the basic stuff there. But I mean, with that now, I kind of like understand my way around next. So I understand my way around next. The next thing is to, I think we can build like an e-commerce project. I don't have any designs yet. I'll just do like solo and then build something. I also want to use Drizzle. Have you used Drizzle before? Dominic, have you used Drizzle before? No. I need somebody who has used Drizzle before now. Drizzle seems to be cool. Both Drizzle and Resend, those are the two things I want to implement into the project. So that way. Um, but outside of that, I'm practically learning and I'm still learning a lot. So I still do the JavaScript streams on Friday, and I do like the TypeScript stream on the React Next.js stream on Saturdays. So I don't know if you want to come on maybe one of the stream to maybe show us some nice stuff. We can talk about that on LinkedIn, right? If you want to, right? We can talk about that on LinkedIn. And yeah, you just show us some things that you know based on your experience. Um, I mean, you have like a very interesting profile around designs and UIs. So if you want to come around, right, you can come around and show us. We can plan a session together where you just come around and show us some stuff. I mean, no pressure. Just if you want to, right? If you want to. Yeah. So next week, Saturday, I'll be building something from scratch. Don't know how that is going to be, but I don't even know what I'm building yet. But I'll try to build something next um next Saturday. Right, next Saturday I'll be building something from scratch. I'm going to be using Tailwind too, so that's another way to get deeper into Tailwind. Right, I've not gotten deeper like that into Tailwind, so I necessarily have to do that. And we're going to be using TypeScript as well. So just get ready, right? Just get ready. TypeScript, Tailwind, and yeah, we'll build something. I just know we're going to build something. I can come with some designs or some components that can help us to move very fast. So we'll have some components that helps us to move very fast, so that I will not just be building components out from scratch, but I'll still explain what the components are doing, right? Before we get deep into all this, right? So I think that'll be all for today, right? Today was just to put some final touches to what we built earlier, right? Just to show the code. And I think I'm excited about next 15. I think there is next 15 RC is out already. Next 15, Next.js 15 RC. Yeah, I think release candidate is out. Yeah. Next 15 release candidate is out. So I don't know. I should try to upgrade what I have. Uh, okay. I should try to upgrade this to 15 RC to see the performance improvement. Uh, is the implementation? You mean the implementation of next 15? No, it shouldn't be different. I don't think it's different per se like that. Uh, it shouldn't be different. They shouldn't try that, please. They won't want to do that. I think the major thing is turbo pack, and the major thing that they are adding to this is like the turbo pack, and I think it's turbo pack and React compiler, right? Which is they are having full support for, like, they already had full support for React 19 for a while now, and I think they have some improvements on their caching. Then they've been talking about partial pre-rendering. They've been talking about partial pre-rendering for a while now as well. That's new. There's new features, but it's like next 14. Yeah. Hmm. I probably will just try it out myself to see. I'll just try it out to see what's up with there. But I think the major one I'm happy about is the React compiler. To see how the React compiler improves the performance of what you have. Right. Do you use Next.js at work, Dominic? You use Next fully at work? Hmm. So one might just needs to read about the compiler. I need to read about the compiler as well to know. Huh. I'll check it out because I think I'm enjoying Next.js. I'm enjoying Next.js, and I really want to check it out to see like the cool stuff that they have in there. So I think basically that'll be all for today. Right, that'll be all for today. Again, next Saturday, but in side projects. Okay. So next Saturday, right, we'll be here building something with Next.js, something that is totally different from all that I've been building before. And for those who missed my Friday stream, I talked about array methods, right? If you want to check it out, I talked about YouTube. I talked about array methods on the last stream. So that's something that you can also check out. You for real? Array method, or let's see. Okay. So the last stream I did was I talked about array methods. Yeah. And I think for those who joined, I think the emphasis on this array method is that you won't know um, how beautiful array methods are, right? With the introduction of array.width, we have array.width API. Array.width is very powerful, right? It helps you to update an array, updates a particular array without necessarily slicing or without filtering or doing any of those magics that we usually do before now. So array.width, then array.height, and the array dot to reversed, to spliced, and to what, to sorted. Those are new APIs that has been introduced into the way the array method also works. So if you want to check it out, just check out the YouTube channel and you see what we did there, right? And if that's the case, I'll see you all, right? Same time, same channel, right? Next week, Friday. Next week, Friday, I'm just going to be talking about maps and sets, right? That's what I'll be talking about. And then on Saturday, nextjs, I'm going to be fully talking about the new project, the direction we want to go with the new project. So thanks for joining, right? Do appreciate you all for the support. Thank you, and do have a wonderful night rest. And that'll be all from me. Thank you. For those who were in the comments, thank you, Dominic. Thank you, Miriam. And thank you, Rolla. Thank you so much.